Every year in the NFL, it's a new team. As far as goals go, we have one. Putting a f***ing ring on our finger.
Welcome to the Buccaneers Observer Podcast. This is Ralph Phillips.
Molly Bay.
Today is August 25th, 2021. 15 days to kick off. 15 days. You know who? I am so excited about it. You know who's not excited about it? Cowboys.
I know.
The Cowboys team and all their fans. You know, they might think they're excited about it.
They're going to be so sad.
They're going to be very sad. It's going to be a very sad, large segment of the population. They are America's team, after all. Who came up with that? We need to look into that.
Their PR team.
Probably Jimmy Jones. No, I remember, gosh, it's ever since I was a little kid. They're called America's team. The cheerleaders were huge. I remember that. Yeah, of course. Mm. You know, they've never changed their cheerleaders' outfit. They've got the same outfits they've had since like the 60s or something. Another thing, I'll have to look into that.
What works.
Yes, well.
For hours, you're going to research that.
I'm definitely going to have to fact check and follow up with that one. We got a good podcast for you today. It's basically going to be just news. We're going to cover the Buccaneers. We're going to cover the NFC South. We're going to cover the league. And we're going to cover not everything, but
we got a little bit of everything.
A lot of stuff. We're going to dabble here and there. Yeah. Now, we're not going to talk too much about the game coming up Saturday, which is Saturday at 8 p.m., and it's going to be against the Houston Texans. We're going to see our first stringers out there for the first half.
At least a BA said that if they don't play good, they might be out in the third quarter too.
He's so funny. He just opens his mouth and talks, don't he?
Yeah, stuff just comes out.
Yeah. But we're going to, not really talk about that a whole lot. We're going to save that for Friday. We're going to give you a big breakdown on all the good stuff going on with that. But Molly's going to be dealing with this podcast. She's got all the information. I got a few things to contribute, so we're going to let her take it away, Molly Bay.
Hopefully you'll have your commentary too.
Oh, I'll jump in. Got a bunch of stuff staying. I can't keep my mouth shut about nothing.
Well, I am going to ask you about the Winston stuff, so stay tuned for that. Okay, so we'll start around the league. Vinnie Curry, who is a former Buccaneer, he came from the Eagles after they won their Super Bowl. He was one of our big signings.
Him and Bo Allen.
With Bo Allen.
That was 2018.
Yeah, so I did not remember that. So yeah.
He's been with Philadelphia since 2012. He's still with them.
No, he went to the Jets.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
he was with them to 2020.
Right. So he went to the Jets, and the Jets doctors diagnosed him with a rare blood disorder. So he ended up getting his spleen removed, and then was on blood thinners because he got a bunch of blood clots. And so the blood thinners, he cannot have physical contact, obviously, while on blood thinners, so he can't play this season.
Wow, man, that's horrible.
I know. He said that they expect him to make a full recovery and he should be back next season, but for now he can't play.
So wait a minute. So he had a rare blood disorder, got his spleen removed. The medication they gave him causes blood clots.
Well, he said during his recovery, blood clots formed.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
So just a side effect of the surgery. And then got on the medication and can't have contact.
Yeah, because if you get a bruise, that's
a
huge blood
very
clot.
Dangerous. Yeah.
Well,
so he hopes to be back next
I liked him.
season.
I was upset when him and Bo Allen went back to Philadelphia. I was like, I mean, they were basically rotational guys. But
and Vinny was injured a lot for us. I think the whole first part of the season he was not in.
But they played hard. I liked that.
Yeah. So, all right. We touched on how Mike Vrabel, the Titans head coach, tested positive on Sunday after we had played them for coronavirus. And then we learn, I guess, Monday, that Ryan Succop, our kicker, had tested positive. He is fully vaccinated.
And Vrabel was too.
Oh, he was. I didn't hear about that. But Ryan apparently went to dinner with some of the Titans players because he was their longtime kicker. And that's how I don't know if like a BA went to Mike Vrabel and made the connection between that dinner and Succop testing positive, but I think none of those guys have tested positive that he went to dinner with. And in any case, he's isolating, and none of the specialists in the kicking group at the Buccaneers have tested positive. They're all still practicing. So,
well, last year there was a huge issue with false positives, not just with the NFL, but Major League Baseball and hockey. There was a lot of false positives last year, and I wonder if they're retesting guys after they get tested as positive, or if they're just going, whatever, just sit out for a little bit and come back.
Well, in order to even come back, they'll have to have 2 negative tests. So yes, I think that they are the tests are recurring. And remember earlier in the preseason, like training camp, almost immediately Winfield, he was held out of a practice, and I think that must have been a false positive because he was held out one practice and the next day he was fine.
Yeah, it's very strange, man. None of this makes any sense. Speaking of which, Cole Beasley has been forced into a 5-day re-entry program because one of the Buffalo Bills trainers tested positive for the coronavirus, even though the trainer was vaccinated. Now, the trainer has been feeling ill. Matter of fact, that's what brought it up. He got sick, or he started feeling ill and went home and then got tested and found out he had the coronavirus. So
why the hell was he at work? That is what annoys me about this whole thing. And, I was the type, I suffer from allergies a lot, and a lot of the symptoms are similar to a cold. And before coronavirus, I probably would have still gone into work because it's a common enough thing I can usually identify it. However, since coronavirus has started, if I have anything, I do not go anywhere. And I don't understand why, and I'm not even that freaked out about it, but I just think that out of a courtesy to everyone around me, and because I don't want to be that asshole that brings it into the office or, spreads it around the grocery. I don't want that on my conscience. So to me, I do not understand people who are like, oh, I felt like shit, but I went to work anyway. Like, what are you doing? Well, what are you doing?
It was definitely huge back in the day, and I think that's changed now, definitely with the coronavirus pandemic and all that good stuff. That, people used to do that because it was a sign of toughness and perseverance and all that. You just push through it and you work and all that good stuff. I was never a big fan of it because I don't like getting sick. People come in to work, they're sick. I avoid them. I get mad at them. Yeah. I used to always. And I was the type of guy that if I got sick, I'm calling in, mainly because I didn't want to go to work. But secondly, because.
Convenient excuse.
Yeah. You remember when I called in sick one time? What was it? I called in, oh my gosh.
Tired? Hungover?
Hungover. Yeah. I called it. I was just like, I'm hungover. I'm not coming in.
You got to appreciate the honesty.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I've always been of the mindset of if you're sick, stay out of the office, stay away from work, and when I work construction, guys would come in and be sick and everything. I'm like, dude, you can't get me sick working construction. It's all I need to do is sneeze while I'm, 5 stories up on a roof and fall to my death. So
it's true.
So anyhow, Cole Beasley has to go through because he was close contact. He can't play. He can't practice. He was kicked out of the facility. 4 guys were. And they all have to go through the 5-day, it's called 5-day re-entry process.
Well, that's the same thing that happened to Cam Newton because he apparently did not go through the right testing procedures to go back to the Patriots. It was like, wasn't it an approved medical thing that he went out of facility for, and then it's just ridiculous.
Yes, it's very ridiculous. Star Latoile,
Who, what? I'm sorry?
Star Latoile, Vernon Butler, and Gabrielle Davis were the other three. So those four have had to, they've been removed from practice. They're not allowed to come close to anybody. They can't come to the facility at all for 5 days, and they have to test positive or negative. And none of them have tested positive yet. It's been 2 days, and none of them have tested positive. But this is under the league's new rules. It says only unvaccinated players are subject to the 5-day re-entry cadence. So obviously, all those guys are unvaccinated. The unvaccinated players are tested daily, while fully vaccinated players are required to be tested once every 14 days. Now, Cole Beasley brought this up in the offseason, because he's been a very vocal advocate or against all this. What do you call that? When you're advocate against? Outspoken, yeah. And he was, one of his main points was, why do unvaccinated have to be tested every day when the vaccinated are only tested every 2 weeks? The vaccinated can get sick, they can bring the virus in, and they can give it to everybody. And this is exactly what's happened.
That's what happened.
A vaccinated person came into the building sick, and now the unvaccinated people are being punished for it. Because,
oh my gosh. How mad would you be?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then do they get docked pay? I mean, I know that there were financial penalties for all that happening.
I don't know.
I think it's when you spread, if you are the first one, if they identify you as the source. I don't know that you get docked pay, but the team gets penalized if an unvaccinated player is spreading it.
Yeah, well, luckily it wasn't an unvaccinated player. Now, all four of these guys are not going to be able to play in the next preseason game against Green Bay.
How many of them are fighting for jobs? Like, that's kind of messed up. So that could be your last opportunity.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't think Cole Beasley is, but
I don't think
know
Star
about
is. Vernon Butler probably isn't. I don't think any of them are. They're all veterans.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, it's just, that's what Cole talked about the whole time, and they just proved him right. Yeah. It's just, nothing makes sense.
None of it makes sense. None of it makes sense.
It does not make sense.
It is the weirdest thing.
Cole's got to be sitting there like, I told y'all.
But it doesn't matter.
I know.
It doesn't matter.
No, you're right.
Everybody's just gone haywire with all this stuff, and you've got this thing happening over here, this thing happening over here. Some people are masking, some people aren't masking. Schools are masking, schools aren't masking. It's, you got to get shots over here, you got to get not shots over here. They say you can't get it if you're vaccinated, but then kind of find out you can get it, and then it's like, oh, you get it, but you're not going to be hospitals. Now it's like they're going to the hospital, people are dying. It's all over the place. It's insane. To me, it was one of the biggest failures of the medical community in history. It's just they're unprepared, it doesn't
terrible messaging.
Terrible messaging. Terrible messaging.
I know.
And it's, you've got some doctors are saying they're not going to treat people if they're not vaccinated. And you're like, well, isn't that your job? I mean, weren't you supposed? Are you going to do that for people that smoke? Or they're like, well, you got lung cancer, but I'm not going to treat you because you used to smoke. Or what about
that's
people
your personal choice has led to negative health consequences. So
right.
I can't mess. And the Dallas Cowboys just had an outbreak. They put 6 players on the COVID reserve list.
Yeah, we got to play those guys.
Just yesterday, Jerry Jones was on, or it might have been Monday, just this week. He was on Sirius XM radio talking about how important vaccinations are, and it's everyone's duty, and then 6 of his players go on the COVID list. And I think that they were, I feel like the Cowboys are one of those teams that have a high vaccination rate, and then you're like, okay, well, you're still spreading it, so
right,
great, I guess.
I guess. I mean, it's been quite proven by now that there are breakthrough cases and people are getting sick. They're going to the hospital. There has been deaths with vaccinated people from the coronavirus and all this good stuff. So at this point, we should all step back and go, okay, we got to make sense of this mess. But it seems like everybody's just, we got to push forward. We got to, punish the people that aren't, and we got to, make sure that everybody is wrapped up in cellophane, no matter you're vaccinated or unvaccinated. This is going to go on forever. This is never going to end. That's it. It's never going to end.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. We've given the government power. I'm half a century old, and I have never known a time when the government has given up any power whatsoever.
Right.
You know, I mean, you got whole agencies and branches of government that have been, they're basically nullified in what they're supposed to do. So what they do is they just go, well, we're going to do this instead. Yeah, I know we were established to stop prohibition, but now we're going to, since prohibition's gone, we'll, I don't know, we'll worry about tobacco.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
Who's worried about tobacco? Like, what tobacco crimes are occurring currently?
I don't know. They'll come up with something.
Well, the good news in all of this is that the NFL is restricting access to the media. To the players. So
there's
the NFL,
silver lining.
Silver lining, guys. The NFL informed clubs that the locker room on game day will be restricted to 50 people, and the only media allowed, which I don't know how that works when you have 53 on a roster, but isn't it 53, but then you have some that are inactive? Like you can only have a certain number that are active on game day.
I have no idea.
I
I can't keep track of all the changes anymore.
But there are media allowed in the locker room, but it's only the team affiliated.
Yeah,
media.
so that means who was our guy? Scott Smith, Casey Phillips,
Carmen Vitale.
Is she officially with the Buccaneers?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So Rick Stroud hardest hit by this, but we wouldn't know it because Ralph got us blocked. So there we have it.
There it is. Is that all the coronavirus news around the league?
Well, I do have news. BA said that in Houston, he's not letting the team go out or anything, even if they're vaccinated. He doesn't care.
Wow.
He's not letting anyone out. You stay in the hotel. So,
man,
he's putting them in a bubble.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, we made a roster move.
Are we talking Bucs news now?
Yes. Are you done with COVID? Are you done with league news?
League news? No, I got a few things.
Okay, go ahead.
The Panthers.
All right.
This is NFC South.
Mm-hmm. Let's hear it.
Panthers signed wide receiver Robbie Anderson to a $29.5 million 2-year extension.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I mean, he's their number one, right?
Yeah, he's their only one, isn't he?
Yeah. He played pretty good last year, I thought. The two games I saw. Yeah. We saw with him.
Yeah. So he will be eligible for his next contract when he's 30.
Is he that old?
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, this was a 2-year extension, but I think he still had 3 years or something like that. So it's really like 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but he's getting paid. Okay. That's what, $15 million a year.
I wonder if he'll make it through the next coach.
He just flat out said
when they get rid of this guy.
Yeah, well, this is his second year.
Yeah.
So, he's got to do something this year. He's got one more year maybe after this.
Maybe. They've done a lot of rebuilding, so I suspect even if they don't do well this year, he might have another year.
But you can't pull off a 2-15.
No. I know. They got to at least, bump it up to 4 wins maybe.
Let me see. Josh Rosen signed with the Falcons. He is now their backup quarterback because A.J. McCarron, who was their backup quarterback, tore his ACL. And they signed Josh Rosen, who had just got cut by the 49ers. That poor guy. Josh Rosen, he was a first-round draft pick.
Yes, first overall.
Was he first overall?
I think so.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm going to look it up.
Okay, you look it up. And then he's bounced around the league. And he's never really been given a chance. He was with Miami.
Yeah.
And
well, that's what happens when you're the guy by somebody, and then the next year that that coach gets fired, and we saw it with Glennon. He was Shiano's guy, and the next coach that came in, it wasn't.
Nope.
They didn't want it. He was 10th overall. I was wrong. Yeah, he was selected in the first round. Shut up.
I'm sorry, I had something in my ear. was coughing
You'll
when
never
you said
hear
that.
it again.
I'll replay this.
I know.
Matter of fact, I'm going to
the
get a
replay.
clip of that, put it on a soundboard so I can just play it 20 times a day just to make myself feel better.
Every day. You just have it playing on repeat.
When I'm starting to feel depressed.
You can make a song out of it.
Yeah, he hasn't really done much in the league. He started with the Dolphins for 1 year, right? And
yeah, he was at the
2018.
Cardinals. Then he went to the Dolphins.
Oh, he was the Cardinals. That's right.
Yeah.
And they traded him. It was a big trade deal, right?
Yeah, I just closed his wiki. Okay, we got this. We're going to read the biography. Josh Rosen. And then we had him on our practice squad. I was really hoping he might be the future of the Buccaneers. So he was the 4th quarterback selected in the 2018 draft.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So then in the 2019 draft, the Cardinals drafted Kyler Murray. Oh, he was 1st overall. Yeah, and Rosen was traded to the Dolphins for a 2nd round and a 5th round. And then he was the backup to Ryan Fitzmagic.
Well, with the Miami, he only started 3 games with them.
Yeah.
In 2019. In 2018 with Arizona, he started 13. He was in 14 games with them. He had a 55.2% completion rate, 11 touchdowns to 14 interceptions. With Miami, he had 1 touchdown to 5 interceptions.
Oof.
Yeah, he hasn't really shown a whole lot in the league.
But he hasn't gotten a lot of opportunity either. I mean...
Right, yeah. And when he was with Arizona, they sucked.
Right.
And when he was at Miami, they sucked.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Well, and you do that quarterback juggling, like no one can succeed like that. I'm just not a big fan of that.
No.
So he's with Atlanta.
He's with Atlanta, and Matt Ryan's getting up there in the years. He's a pretty tough guy. Matt Ryan doesn't go out too often, but we might be facing Josh Rosen at some point this year. You never know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, and you wonder if they're going to end up grooming him to take over for Matt Ryan.
Well, with those kinds of stats, I wouldn't be upset if they did.
Ooh, that's a good segue. Let's talk about Jameis.
Oh, Jameis.
Okay, why was Twitter just going on? I did not watch the Saints game. Ralph watched it.
Mm-hmm.
Why was Twitter going off like he was the second coming of Jesus? Like none of them had ever watched him before. Like he is just like Ryan Fitzmagic. Fitzmagic. Yeah, you know what I'm saying. It's either magic or tragic.
Mm-hmm.
Like Jameis has the capacity, and when we were standing for Jameis for good Lord, how long? Like this whole podcast before we got the GOAT.
Mm-hmm.
We said this about Jameis. He can be great. He's got an arm on him. If he learned to make better decisions, he'd be a threat. And, he's always shown flashes of brilliance. So it just blows my mind that everyone's like, oh, Jameis got his eyes fixed and now he's amazing. It's like, I think it's Taylor Jenkins from the Pewter Report was like, did people think he was using echolocation before this? Credit to him. That was hysterical. It's like, no, he has done this before.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it was nothing different than we had seen, as a Buccaneers. But and here's what makes it almost exactly like the way he was at the Bucs, is it was the receivers. Here's what happened. He had 2 great passes.
Yeah, like bombs down the field.
Yes, and
which he's phenomenal at. We all know this.
Yeah, the guy's got an arm. His problem was usually he overthrew guys. Mm-hmm. Vincent Jackson, the Philadelphia guy. Deshaun Jackson. Too many Jacksons in this league. Yeah. That was always his thing. He overthrew me. But with these receivers that caught this ball, if you go back and look at those plays, the receivers were making unbelievably spectacular catches. The one guy caught it one-armed in the end zone. One arm. It had nothing to do with Jameis. Now, Jameis put it in a good spot, but to be honest with you, the guy was covered by a cornerback. And
so not the best decision.
No. But it was...
And those balls can go either way, as we saw in his 30 interceptions.
Right. Yeah, and if you look at all the passes he threw previously, too, none of them were on point. Receivers were having to, like I pointed out in the videos, but the accuracy between Tom Brady and Jameis Winston, receivers were having to stop, twist around, jump up in the air, all this good stuff. And, to me, they should be talking about how great those receivers were. That Jameis Winston, he didn't do anything that I saw that was spectacular. And I mean, you could say the one touchdown with the guy with the one arm, that caught it with one arm, you could say that was a very good placed ball. And it was. It dropped right in. But like I said, the guy was covered like a blanket, and he just, caught it with one arm. He had to catch it with one arm. The guy was on his other arm. Mm-hmm. So to me, it was very much the wide receivers. Exactly the same as it was here in Tampa Bay. Mike Evans can catch a ball. You throw
Any
it
50-50 ball.
Yeah, throw it 12 feet in the air. Mike Evans is going to catch it most likely.
Or draw a pass interference flag.
Yes.
On him or the other guy.
So, I didn't see anything spectacular with Jameis Winston. I saw the receivers were really stepping it up. And again, Jameis Winston had Mike Evans here, and he's always had good receivers around him. So, it's kind of like Johnny Football. When he was playing, he had Mike Evans. Mm-hmm. And you take Mike Evans out of the situation, Johnny Football sucked. I mean, he was absolutely horrible. Mike Evans will make any quarterback look good. Mm-hmm. And Jameis Winston has never played on a professional NFL team where he didn't have spectacular wide receivers. And these guys were just making great catches. And what's his face came in?
Taysom Hill.
Was it Taysom Hill? Who's their third quarterback?
I don't know.
Anyhow, Taysom Hill came in and did the same thing. He didn't throw 2 touchdowns though, like Jameis did. He just got 1, but still, it was great, and it was a great catch and all that good stuff. So, I chalk it up more to the receivers than I do to Jameis Winston. So, that's my thoughts on it. And I found it very strange. I wanted to tweet that out. I was like, is nobody giving these receivers credit? Those were great. I mean, outstanding catches by these guys. It wasn't Winston that caught the ball. I didn't even think a couple of them weren't really even good decisions.
Right. And those, with Jameis, he's got that decision-making problem. That was his problem. It was never his arm.
Yes. Yeah, he's got the happy feet. He gets frantic and poor decision-making. He doesn't read the field well at all.
And, that could have been because he couldn't see it, or it's just who he is. He's just not a great decision maker. Mm-hmm. So that will be determined this year, I think, should he get named the starter. Please, God, name him the starter.
I know. Could you imagine? Jesus. Could you imagine if he's the starter, right? We play him. We played New England. Cam Newton's the starter. And then of course we got Matt Brady. It's like we can't get away from these guys, but it's great. I love playing against them.
I do too. I know.
I really want to play against Jameis Winston. He got that bomb on us. That trick
You're
play.
You're so mad at him.
Oh.
Which, again, that's one of those things he's great at. Yes, of course he's going to make that. Mm-hmm. I mean, he can make those plays.
Right.
He absolutely can.
He's going to
But give us, you have to put him in for more than one play. Like, put him in for more than one play and let us have a shot at him.
Yes. Yeah, he's not a comeback guy.
No, it's easy to get him rattled.
Very easy. He gets spooked quick.
Mm-hmm. He makes terrible decisions.
Mm-hmm.
And
he's not good under pressure.
He's a liability at times. So,
yeah.
Please, God, name him your starter.
Please.
New Orleans.
Please.
The fans are on board, which I love even more.
And I want to make Saints fans very happy. Mm-hmm. So I think we should gift him Jameis Winston as a starter.
Oh, Lord. record.
Yeah, you look at the guy. He broke the record for interceptions because he does stuff like that. He'll just throw the ball whether the guy's covered or, he'll just throw inaccurate balls and hope that the receiver can twist and make the catch. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. We'll see. I really want to see. But we don't play them until week, 6? Or is it week 8?
Right, that's plenty of time for him to have a meltdown.
Yeah, and get pulled and Taysom Hill come in. So I'm like, man.
I know, but Taysom Hill wasn't that great last year.
I know, but it's not as nice beating up on Taysom Hill because he's not Jameis Winston.
I don't know, that's like Sean Payton's guy, though.
Yeah, well, it's just, I want payback on Jameis Winston. I love Jameis Winston. He was, we rooted for him. We cheered him on. Mm-hmm. We didn't talk bad about him until he left. And then, we were like, okay, we got something better now and all that. And then he went to the Saints. He went to the Saints. Guess what you are now? You're
dead to me.
You're an enemy.
Yeah.
Yes. And then you come in and throw that pass, get a touchdown on a trick play. Man.
Oh, man.
And then acted all like,
you did something.
Yeah, like, ooh, we're the best. And we stomped your butt in the playoffs where it mattered.
I know.
Okay. So that's my thoughts on it. It was more the receivers than it was Jameis Winston.
Love it. I agree.
Who was that?
I'm not impressed.
Who was that guy that caught it one-handed? Was
it Callaway?
That sounds right. It does sound right. But
they've had to move all kinds of people around in that receiver core because of Michael Thomas being gone.
Well, I tell you what, they got some receivers. It seems like that's what they're really focusing on.
But it's weird because last season with Michael Thomas out, they had brought in Emmanuel Sanders, hoping that would be a good 1-2 punch. And then Michael Thomas was out the whole season and Emmanuel Sanders did like nothing. He was a big free agent signing for them.
That's right.
And then they let him go after a year. And now they're having to rebuild their whole receiver room. And especially with Michael Thomas being out because of his ankle surgery. Mm-hmm. They're kind of in dire straits as far as receivers go. They did convert Ty Montgomery from running back to receiver.
Yeah.
And
that's basically what he did at Green Bay. Anyhow, he was just the receiving running back.
Was he at Green Bay? I thought he was at the Colts. I'll look it up.
I think he was at Green Bay originally, and then I think he went to the Jets.
Oh, okay. He's kind of been a journey.
Yeah.
No,
Green Bay, Baltimore, Jets.
T.Y. Hilton is who I'm thinking of at the Colts.
Yeah, okay.
T.Y.
Well, the Saints have 10 receivers now. And, of course, Alvin Kamara is a big-time receiver.
Sure, yeah.
Running back. Latavius Murray, he catches the ball out of the backfield. So they basically have 12 receivers on their roster right now.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just because they don't, they're trying to get that room solidified. They don't have anybody there.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Ty Montgomery was with the Packers. Wow. From 2015 to 2018. Mm-hmm. Then he went to the Ravens, Jets, and now the Saints.
Yep. Yeah, he dropped the ball, too.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, in the Saints game. Oh. Right off his hands. Boink.
That's funny. Oops. Okay. You got any more news from around the league?
No, I'm done.
All right. I just have a few training camp notes, and then that's all I got.
Okay.
So we did make a roster move. Besides putting Ryan Succop on the COVID list, we waived injured with an injury designation tackle Chidi Okeke. So he's gone. And let's see, on Tuesday, Jordan Whitehead didn't practice, John Molchin, Cam Gill, and Cyril Grayson, as well as Earl Wadford. But that might have been a day off. And then Cam Brate was on the side with a trainer. Mr. Greg Allman brought us that news. And then today, Cam Gill and Earl Wadford were out.
Cam Gill still?
I know.
Whoa.
And
how in the world is he going to make the team?
I don't know.
Has he practiced at all this preseason?
Unless he's already made the team, they feel like. I don't know.
Yeah. I've
I
already
don't
said
know.
enough about that.
Yeah.
Just real quick, Teddy Bridgewater is going to be quarterback one for the Denver Broncos.
I saw that. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Well, I tell you, there's something about him, man. Teams just can't not give up on him.
He must practice really well.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's hard to find a starting caliber quarterback. That's moderately decent, mediocre.
Well, let's see. He started with Minnesota, then he was with New Orleans, and he was with Carolina. Has that been it?
Yeah, and then Carolina traded him to Denver.
Now to Denver, and he was a starter at every single one of those. Mm-hmm. He started when Drew Brees got hurt. So,
yeah, I mean,
there's something about him that coaches just love.
Yeah. Well, I think that he's a kind of a proven quarterback. He doesn't have the longevity though. So, BA said that Robert Hainsey is going to practice or play on Saturday. So that's pretty exciting. More offensive line depth. They're practicing, so they practice Tuesday through Thursday. So they'll have a practice tomorrow. Then Friday they'll probably travel. Saturday's the game. And last thing, apparently the NFL teams, they have to give players 4 consecutive days off. So the Bucs won't practice after Saturday. So Saturday they have the game, so then they have to have 4 days off. And so they won't practice again until Thursday. But then they'll have a full week to prep for the Cowboys game because the game is the following Thursday.
Ooh, I'm so excited.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
You gonna make a wager with our Dallas
fan
fan
I already
friend?
did.
Yeah. Oh, you did?
Oh, yeah.
What are you gonna win?
Money. That's the only thing we bet.
I know. Love it.
Yeah.
Buy me something nice.
Okay. Buy you some Taco Bell.
Okay.
I'll take you out to dinner, Taco Bell.
All right. You know how to treat a girl right. Okay, that's all I got, Ralph.
That's it?
Else? That's it.
Well, we got to come up with something else to talk about because we're at 40 minutes.
No, come on.
I can sit here and talk Bucks. Let's talk Bucks.
Okay.
That preseason game was a little worrisome.
You think so? But Pewter Report is saying, and they're normally the ones who are pretty dramatic, I think. They're saying all the people who need to play are fine. Like, this is just, it's kind of like what we said. It's the depth that we're looking at now, and they're fine.
Yes. And I get that. And I'm not like concerned, but what it is that I'm concerned about is the same issues we had last year were present in this game.
Okay.
With other players, dropped passes, bad tackling, special teams. They're horrible. Yeah. I don't. Maybe there's something about the way the coaching's being done because, it'd be different if it was the same group of guys doing the same mistakes. And you go, yeah, well, it's just those guys. But it seems to be, endemic.
I haven't seen the starters. Like, are the starters
dropping balls,
having the same issues?
Yeah.
I don't know. We haven't really seen a lot of them.
Yeah. So
I don't think we can make that judgment. We have tweets from training camp, but I don't know how much I trust those.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And I see your point, but I think also you've got to account for cohesion. Like, none of these guys have played a full season together or even a full camp together yet. Yeah. And a lot of them are new and learning. So I'm not that worried. I'll be worried if the starters come out and just totally shit the bed, but I don't expect that to happen.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to shit the bed or anything. And these guys made a lot of mistakes because of the things that you said the lack of cohesion and all that good stuff. But what I was concerned about is the simple things that we had problems with last year, like catching the ball and tackling in the special teams. Those were the 3 things I said last year that we need to improve on. And we thought they were doing it with the special teams. It seemed like they were drafting guys that were big special team players. I ain't seen it. And the catching the ball, I mean, it's like endemic to everybody on our team. Our running backs, our main guys. I mean, Chris Godwin, Tom Brady said Chris Godwin had the best hands of any receiver he's ever played with. And then throughout the playoffs, Chris Godwin was dropping balls like crazy.
But he had a broken finger.
Well, okay. Yeah. He's got an excuse.
Okay.
I'm sure they all did.
There you go.
But it just seems when your first stringers are dropping the balls and then your second stringers are dropping the balls and your third stringers are dropping the balls, you have to eventually go, maybe there's something about the way they're practicing or being coached up that's not helping with that. So I don't have a whole lot of faith that the things we had a problem with last year, those 3 things, wide receivers dropping the ball, or receivers dropping the balls, poor tackling, and offense or special teams tackling and blocking. I don't think they're going to get better this year. But it's fine because we're still going to win the Super Bowl.
I know. Well, I would say that the tackling did improve. I think we had like a span where the defense was very tired, and so I think that it did improve towards the end of the season and in the playoffs. When I talk about these things, and I'm kind of making it sound worse than it is. Our receivers are great. Our running backs catch the ball great and everything, but we throw a lot of passes, and 4 or 5 drops a game is big. But it's not like these guys are dropping every pass that comes their way or anything. It's just one here and there and whatnot. Unless you're OJ.
Unless you're OJ Howard, and or Tanner Hudson during the regular season. Mm-hmm. So what I'm looking for is perfection. And those 3 things are, like with the tackling. I mean, we tackle fine. We're not, getting run over. As a matter of fact, we have the best run defense in the league. If we do it again this year, we'll break a record. I don't know if anybody's ever had 3 years in a row of being number 1 run defense. So anyhow, it's not that our tackling is horrible. Just like it's not like our special teams is horrible. It's just they're not great. They're not elite like I want them to be.
But I think the point that you're trying to bring up is that it's not something that it seems like the coaching staff addressed.
No.
In the offseason.
Or know how to address. It seems like it's endemic with the way we practice and are coached. You're going to have those. It's just going to happen.
Well, and I wonder how much, emphasis is actually put on these things.
Right.
I don't know.
Exactly.
I think tackling, they do.
Yeah.
But, how much do they care about special teams? I don't know. They certainly tried to shore it up in the offseason, but is it just one of those things where we're not putting the same emphasis on it? Like, all these special teams guys, they're either on the offense or the defense. That's their main position group. And so how much time do they spend on special teams? I don't know.
I think a lot less time than on most teams because, we've got the 2 practices going on at the same time. Normally with most teams, you've got the 1 practice going on, then everybody else is doing special teams.
Yeah.
So we don't have as much special team focus.
So that might be the design.
Yeah. And I think Bruce Arians is, while he likes endurance and toughness, I think he's very wary about injuries. Because he's talked about that ever since he's been here, that he tries to avoid injuries during training camps. So I think tackling is not focused on during practice. He probably figures these guys, they're professionals. They know how to tackle. So it's not like, what was it, Mike Smith? I think it was. It was, his tackling technique that he taught those guys was horrible.
Was that the arm tackling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just totally changed all their tackling techniques, and it just turned out to be crap. So he's probably just like, well, these guys are professionals. They know how to tackle. I'm not going to take a chance of injuring them or teach them new techniques.
Well, I think it's hard to do against your own team too.
Yeah.
Like when you're you don't really want to tackle your own guys.
Yeah. So we'll see. I like tackling. I'm a big fan of tackling. John Lynch was probably one of the best tacklers that I've ever seen. And, you just don't see really good tackling a whole lot anymore. But, some of the stuff we're doing, you're just like, you need to improve that a little bit. And we're not doing it. I haven't seen it yet.
Well, I wonder how much they expect the individual players to kind of
that's what I think
short
they're
up
doing.
themselves
rather
than coaching.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you want to go through the roster and see who we think might? No?
Well, yeah, we can zip through it real quick and see what we can see.
All right, let's look at the cornerbacks. So we've got Ross Cockrell, Carlton Davis, Jamel Dean, D. Delaney, Antonio Hamilton, Herb Miller, Sean Murphy-Bunting, and Chris Wilcox. So, of course, Carlton Davis, he's good. Jamel Dean, he's good. Sean Murphy-Bunting, he's good. Probably Ross Cockrell is fine. So, how many do you keep on the roster? And who do you think fills those spots?
Well, I like Antonio Hamilton.
I know, me too.
I think we should keep him.
Yeah. Herb Miller, he's a BA guy. Chris Wilcox, I'm not sold on. I don't know why he still has a job. He got burned in that last preseason game. And D. Delaney, I think, has been okay. Do you recall him number 30? Not too much.
No, yeah, I think it's going to be pretty much the same as it was last year, but hopefully we can squeeze Antonio Hamilton in. Jamal Dean.
Jamel.
God, it's going to be another year of me saying
You have
Jamal.
the hardest time with that.
I know. And it's just pronounce it like it's spelled. Jamel. Can't do it.
Can't do it.
Yeah, it's Antonio Hamilton's the only one that, and Ross Cockrell are the two where I say, I really want them to make the team.
Need those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
I think Cockrell's safe.
I think so too. Yeah, just given the limited time he's actually played in the preseason.
Oh, yeah, he's been blowing it up.
Yeah. And he's been playing great. And he's been one of those training camp warriors. So I think he's good. I think he's done enough. Okay, let's go to the defensive line. We got Khalil Davis, Golston, Jeremiah Ledbetter, Steve McClendon, Nacho, Pat O'Connor, Benning Patoea, Kobe Smith, who was that? And Damakong Sue Vita Vea. So, Sue, Vita, Nacho, McClendon, and Golston. Those are safe.
I think Patrick O'Connor's safe.
Yeah, I think so too.
Anthony Nelson, he's probably safe. Don't know.
They've got some of them listed as defensive linemen, and then I guess like Anthony Nelson will be in the outside linebackers group. I wonder about Ledbetter. Have you seen him all preseason?
Yeah, I saw him a little bit. He didn't really do a whole lot.
When was he playing? Do you remember?
Late in the game.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's not a good sign.
Yeah.
You can always kind of tell, like, are they on the bubble? Or are we upgrading there? Benning, Patoea. I don't know about him. Kobe Smith, I do not even remember. Okay. Guard. So onto the offensive line. We got Alex Kappa, Nick Leverett, Ali Marpet, John Molchin, Aaron Stinney.
Yeah.
Kappa, obviously, Stinney, Marpet. We might keep all those guys.
That's what I was saying.
I know.
There ain't a single one I look at and I go, let's get
Yeah. Well, apparently Leverett, someone was saying he might play guard in the game. I think I saw that on Twitter. Might be misinformation. And, oh yeah, because Hainsey, if he comes back, we're going to see him at center, and then they might put Mulchin over at guard. So, okay. You know, if any of these guys, the only ones that really stand out to me are the bad ones.
Josh Wells. And then there's one other one I can't remember. I want to say it starts with an S. We'll probably get to it when we get to the tackles, but Brad Seaton.
Yeah, that's the one. So, I would like to see how the depth shakes out there. I think they're working on that one. It seems like they're kind of prioritizing and really focusing on that group, because we've shuffled a lot of guys in and out. You know, we signed that guy last week. This week we just dropped Chidi, who's a tackle. So seems like they're putting a lot of stock into that. Okay, linebacker core. This one's going to be fun. Okay, so we got KJ Britt, Levante David, Joe Jones, Kevin Minter, Grant Stewart, your Viking, and Devin White. So how many do you keep? So Kevin Minter,
7.
Levante, and Devin, they're all safe. That's 3. I think last year we only had 4 or 5.
That's right. Yeah, we were
I think
low.
we only kept 4.
Linebacker.
Yeah. So do you keep Grant and Joe Jones and KJ Britt? KJ Britt they drafted. Joe Jones had a pick 6 in the preseason. And then they've said they like Grant Stewart.
Yeah, we kept 5 inside linebackers last year.
Okay, so all these guys might have a job. That's interesting. Okay, I'm going to skip the kicker and the long snapper.
Safety, Antoine Winfield Jr., Jordan Whitehead, Mike Edwards, and Javon Hagan, and Chris Cooper.
Ooh. Have you noticed that Chris Cooper?
Nope.
Me neither. Javon Hagan.
Yeah, I noticed him get burned.
Oh, okay. There we go. Ooh.
Hillman.
Are we kind of light at safety? Is that normal?
Nah, we normally keep 4, right?
Okay. Yeah. And our top, we have 3 already. Mike Edwards, Whitehead, and Winfield. That's pretty good. We got 3 in that group coming back. And so, and Javon Hagan, played for us last year. So if he comes back, that'll be the same group.
Yep.
That's great.
Well, no, we had Adams last year, didn't we?
Oh, we did have Andrew Adams, yeah. Yeah, and I think Javon Hagan was practice squad, back to active roster, kind of back and forth a little bit. But still has familiarity with the offense.
Yes.
Ooh, let's talk about the running back room.
Okay.
What do we even do with the... Okay. Giovanni Bernard.
We have 5 running backs right now, right?
Yeah. Giovanni Bernard, Leonard Fournette, Ronald Jones, and CJ Proces, and Keyshawn Vaughn.
Yeah, I think we're going to keep the same ones we had last year, except add Giovanni Bernard. I don't know if Proces will make it.
I agree. I think so, too. So I think Keyshawn Vaughn stays, Rojo, Fournette, and Bernard. Yeah. All right. I like it.
Not a lot of changes with our team, that's for sure.
I know. That's incredible.
It is.
And
yeah, everybody doesn't... It's so weird how you get stuck in this, the current time. You know, we don't remember what it was like just a few years ago when we were struggling with our offensive line for years. You know, for like 5 years.
Ruined it.
Yeah, we were just, it was like every year it was like, God, our offensive line is horrible. We need to get this. And we were putting pieces in and all that. And it just, you know, it wasn't really until last year where we were with Wirfs in there. We went, hey, we've got an offensive line that, you know, we can keep forever, you know, for at least a few years. This is a pretty solid offensive line. You know, before then we had DeMar Dotson over there. You know, and he was, you know, he was okay. But then, you know, years before that, it was a mess. Total mess. And then there was the whole, you know, what do we do with Donovan Smith? He's just not living up to standards and blah, blah, blah. And then Tom Brady comes in and all of a sudden he's great. So, you know, we don't remember what it was like, you know, just a few short years ago where all of our starters were different every year. You know? We weren't even sure what quarterback we were going to be starting. So it's very, very nice to be able to look at this and go, I know that number.
I know.
These are the same guys.
This guy's going to make it for sure.
Except Leonard Fournette had to go and screw that up. You know? He changed his number to a number 7. I'm like, why?
I hate them.
I do. I hate that
so much.
I really do. You were always able to look at the guy's number and tell what position he played. You can't do that now. Like number 9. We got a 9 that's playing defensive end or outside linebacker. You know, you're like, what are you, a quarterback? No. You're an outside linebacker. How's that happen? Just weird. Now we got a 7 at running back and a 9 at offensive line or outside linebacker. Yeah.
I hate it. And then when I'm watching teams I don't know, I mean, the Buccaneers, I can figure out the player numbers eventually, but it's teams who I don't know their roster.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you have guys on the offense with a single, or on the defense with a single digit number, and you're like, who is that person? Why is the punter out on the field?
Why is the punter playing defense and tackling guys? I don't get it.
I mean, our punter did.
Yeah, Pinion saved that one, man. It was a shoestring tackle.
That's right.
And they called that back. That was such a weak call, you know. The refs suck. But I'm glad they did.
I know. Exactly. Okay, let's talk about the tight end group. Yeah.
This is.
I know. How many did we keep last year? Do you remember?
We had 4.
Okay.
Claire, Hudson, Gronkowski, and Brait.
Okay. So right now we have Jarrell Adams, Brait, Gronk, Howard, Tanner Hudson, and Cody McElroy. So Jarrell Adams, do you recognize that name?
No.
Number 82?
No.
And Tanner Hudson is on the bubble. I wonder if he's fighting with Cody McElroy.
Mm-hmm. Well, McElroy hasn't done anything.
You don't think
not
so?
in the preseason.
He scored a touchdown.
Yeah. On that horrible trash throw where he just tossed him in. That was embarrassing. But scoring a touchdown, yeah, it's a great. It basically landed on top of him. The ball did. I haven't seen. He's also dropped quite a few. I think he had a fumble. There was, the blocking hasn't been great. So I think between Tim and Tanner Hudson, at this point, I give it to Tanner. But he's Tanner. He's doing great in the preseason. I don't know.
It's unfortunate.
Yeah. So, we're keeping O.J. Howard, Rob Gronkowski, Cameron Brait.
Right.
That's fine.
So
whoever the fourth guy is.
Not going to steal out of playing time anyway. Yeah. Special teams, maybe.
Well, until O.J. Howard gets injured. His annual injury.
Yeah. His vacation during the season.
How many games has he played in 4 years?
Not. I think his first year he might have played like 14, but since then it's been like.
Yep.
I would say he's got 21 games total in a season.
You're way off.
How many?
37.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not way.
No, 42. 42.
Really?
Yeah. He started 37.
Oh, okay.
But he's played 42 in 4 years, which averages out to 10.5.
Really?
A year.
Mm-hmm. I feel like he's missing way more than that.
He played 14 in 2017, 10 in 2018, 14 in 2009, and 4 last year.
Okay. Wow, it's so weird how your most recent memory kind of shapes how you think of people.
That's a thing in psychology. It's called...
but then there's the first impression bias, too.
Yeah, first impression bias, but there's... now I want to say it's called recent memory bias, but that's not it. But it's you put more importance on what's happened lately. What's happened lately.
Yeah. I did that with Julio Jones, too. I was like, he's been injured a lot in the last few years. And they were like, no, he hasn't.
Like,
ever.
No.
Like, twice. He's missed like 2 games in 20 years.
All right, who do you think's going to start at quarterback? I mean, we've got this Blaine Gabbert guy. I heard he's pretty good.
Oh, my gosh.
Then we drafted Kyle Trask, so I think it's a toss-up between
quarterback competition. Let's just rotate them out and see what happens.
So our prediction is Ryan Griffin's going to the practice squad. Kyle Trask is going to be third quarterback. Blaine Gabbert's going to be second.
Yeah. I think so, too, just because you don't want to lose Kyle Trask to another team picking him up off the practice squad.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think Ryan Griffin will get picked up by anybody? He could get a backup job somewhere, I think.
He's been on the practice squad back and forth, right?
Yeah.
What is this, his ninth year?
Yeah, he's like 31 or something. How old is he? Hold on. I got it right here. Yeah, he's 31. So is Blaine Gabbert. Wow, Tom Brady's 44. Jesus. It's crazy.
That's crazy. Ryan Griffin was with New Orleans from 2013 to 2015.
Cam Brayton started at New Orleans, too.
Hey.
You want to look at the wide receiver room?
Yeah, let's do that real quick, and then we got to wrap it up.
Cool. Okay, we got Antonio Brown, Jalen Darden, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Cyril Grayson, Tyler Johnson, Travis Johnson, Jaden Mickens, and Scotty Miller.
Oh man, it's going to be a tough one. That is a stacked room right there.
I know. Obviously, okay, Mike, Chris, and Antonio, and is Scotty Miller safe? Scotty's safe, right?
Oh, sure.
I don't know. I think so. I think based on everybody else.
Yeah, you would think so.
Over like the bottom guys who I think are Cyril Grayson, Tyler Johnson, Travis Johnson, Jaden Mickens.
Well,
I think Scotty's above all those.
Well, we're going to keep, 7 or 8?
I don't know. How many did we have last year?
Sometimes 7, sometimes 8.
Okay. So, Antonio, Mike, Chris.
We'll say 7. Let's say 7.
Okay.
Pick 7. Who do you like?
Okay. Antonio, Mike, and Chris. Those 3 are safe. So we got 4, really, that are up for grabs. Yeah, I think Scotty Miller is safe. I think Jalen Darden is safe. Jaden Mickens, I could take or leave. Like, I'm not too thrilled with his special teams play.
Yeah. Right now, he's still our starting punt and kick returner.
Right. So to me, I'm like, if he's there, he's certainly making the team. But I'm not thrilled with his performance there.
I mean, you got Tyler Johnson, Cyril Grayson, Justin Watson.
Oh, Justin Watson is not on my roster.
He's on the pup list.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so Cyril Grayson and Tyler Johnson. I mean, they've been with us for a few years.
Yeah, and then Travis Johnson. So I like Tyler Johnson. I think he's shown some splashes. Yeah. I think he's serviceable.
So we're looking at 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if you keep Tyler Johnson, you think we're going to keep Jaden Mickens?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that leaves us one more spot between Cyril Grayson, Justin Watson, Cyril Grayson, Cyril Grayson, Travis Johnson, and Jalen Darden.
Oh, we're keeping Jalen.
So that's it. Cyril.
Yeah. We had him on the practice squad last year, and he's kind of back and forth. So I can see him on the practice. Yeah.
Doink.
Exactly. And then Travis Johnson, I don't know about him.
All right. So really, we're just going to be adding Jalen Darden.
Yeah. It's like our rookies. That's pretty much.
Yeah. Kyle Trask, Robert Hainsey. We think Hamilton will make it, cornerback.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, it's all rookies.
Yeah, guys that they've handpicked.
Yeah. Interesting. All right, guys. I think that's going to wrap it up for us. So, that's what we think the team is going to be like. We might change after this third preseason game, but I think there's very few spots. There's very few spots available.
I know. I'm surprised.
And we've got very few guys that, are really good. I like the Jalen Darden. I like him, although, he hasn't done anything. He looked good in the first preseason game. He's been great at training camp, so we've heard. But last game, he didn't do anything. And, but none of these guys are making and breaking. I mean, they're all backups. We don't have a single player that we're we're worried about cutting that we go, oh man, that's really going to hurt our team if he.
And not just backups, but like third, fourth string.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even.
Yeah, I
like
think
our backups are even pretty much settled.
Yeah. Well, KJ Britt, he'll probably be.
Yeah, I think he'll make
a backup.
Yeah.
He'll be the closest to a first stringer of all of them. Yeah, I mean even Kyle Trask is going to be third stringer.
I know.
I don't know. Robert Hainsey, he might be put in this year if somebody gets hurt.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, it's all veterans, man. Joe Tryon, there we go. Yeah, he'll probably be in rotation this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Kind of like a Carl Nassib, where he was kind of the third guy.
Yeah, he'll probably get about 10 snaps a game, and more as.
Well, and they're talking about having packages for him. So.
Yeah, interesting. All right, that's going to wrap it up for us, guys. Till next time.
Go Bucks.